Your heart muscles. Hard to do that. You get older.
Especially when they came at night.
They switched one of mine and they gave me, I went to the doc. I searched for
I remember you telling me about that.
So she put me on a.
Okay, everyone, it's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna call the April 16th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. Today, we're gonna have the prayer by Commissioner Sarkella, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Ballard.
We thank you, dear Lord, for this day and for the opportunity to gather. We're especially grateful for the sunshine as it does so much for our outlook on life. We ask that you be with us today during our meeting. Give us strength and guidance and counsel in all the decisions that we make, remembering that all good things do come through your Son, in whose name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Black.
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberly.
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella.
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee.
Present.
District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart.
Here.
District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
At this time, if there are no additions, corrections, or deletions to today's agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, supported by Commissioner Moody, to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda is adopted. At this time, I'll need a motion to approve our meeting minutes from April 9th.
Make a motion to approve. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, supported by Commissioner Ehart, to approve the meeting minutes from April 9th. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You received correspondence from Jody through email the other day. That'll move us into commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Ballard.
Well, I got a light couple of weeks here. Last night I was at Lamont Township. They have approved some ditch and road agreements with the road commission. They awarded a bid for tree removal at the cemetery to B&T Logging for $11,000, and that's pending proof of insurance. The fire department received a $10,000 grant for equipment. And one of the first things they want to get is new helmets. Theirs are outdated and have broken parts on them, so they need to get them replaced. They had their pancake breakfast last Saturday, which I missed due to a funeral, but they raised a little over $2,000 on that. So that was good for them. Their 1989 grass rig is in the shop for a transmission rebuild at 8,000 miles. So they said they had an issue with the transmission filter, fell off and got sucked up in and kind of destroyed it. They approved their language for a new millage. This will replace the current one for the road millage. They are going from 1.5 to 2 mils. And when that started out years ago, it was a 1 mil tax. And then about 30 years ago, it was raised to 1.5. So it just doesn't go far enough. And the new one will raise, should have passed about 7,000 annually. And that's all for that part of the report.
Thanks, Roger. Gary?
My attendance at Sandusky City Council bi-weekly meeting last night, and a lot of discussion internally about how the city's going with the tubes they're putting in and things, and how traffic has been switched around. And also it got brought up, and I know we talked about it last week in our meeting. When I was in their meeting 2 weeks ago, I got with their city manager because they're looking to buy a new patrol car. And last night they voted to purchase a 2023 Chevrolet, and had 10 miles on it. It was a good deal, and they voted to go ahead and do that. And I know you tried to work with them, and things just didn't work out because you can't get cop cars right now. So it was a good move they made last night. So that was it. And I gave my bi-weekly report, commission report, and that was the end of my report.
Thank you, Gary. Bill?
Applegate, a couple weeks ago, looking at some zoning issues and probably considering utilizing the sheriff's department assistance with some of that when they have to enforce some of the blight issues that that are there. Fire department received some grant funding. And they approved their budget for the year, and also they're looking at some mowing bids. Actually had a few bids for a change instead of just one or nobody. A couple other things I was involved with, one of the townships that I serve had zoning issues with a sand pit going in, and they were able to get some assistance from Joe Allen. So kudos to Joe for stepping in. He gave me some good information on that as well. And then eventually the township was able to pull the permit and stop that process from happening. And then today, in Sanilac, there's a grand opening for the new Aspire Health Clinic that's going in. So we were invited to that, but obviously it's going on right now. So I put out a nice quote for all of us. So we're represented there, even though we're not there physically. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Christine?
I attended the Flint Township meeting and they reminded people if you're running for office to get your petitions filled out. We were also working on their road millage and usually business as usual. That's it.
Okay. I had a conversation with the clerk from Delaware Township yesterday. She reached out to me and I want to bring this up to everybody. Is that she received an email with my name on it with a link for like a secure link for some kind of payment issue. Clearly it was some kind of scam. But this is just a reminder that regularly they seem to target the chair of the board or somebody in that position. They utilize that name to try to scam people within the district, or we even see those emails come around to each other from time to time. So it is an opportunity to remind everybody. I mean, she knew better and she didn't click on it. She called me to verify I hadn't sent her anything. But they are, the scammers are hard at it, that's for sure. So that's all I have. Evans?
I have my township meeting this Thursday.
Okay. John?
I had no meetings.
We have been
Since
meeting
last
weekly
week,
this
yeah.
month, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Since last week. I have one Thursday night, but I did want to congratulate Lieutenant Kyneth from the Sheriff's Office that last week she completed her National Certified Corrections Executive course. And she has about 6 more weeks for her staff and command also.
Okay.
Which is a very, very difficult class that she's taking there.
Did you pass those too?
I did not take either one of them.
Oh.
Did they-
In other words, he was grandfather, didn't he? Didn't need.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
He's gonna be a grandfather. Right?
Yeah.
2 days.
Very good. Appreciate everyone's reports. Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yes, thank you. Starting off, I'd like to let you guys know that the MAC Legislative Conference is at the end of this month. I will be attending, so I'll be able to share the information that I expect from that. That's April 29th and it runs through May 1st, so I will be there. Another update I wanted to give you based on the grounds is a while back, we had talked about all the plaques in the ground that the school was putting in, and Miss Carlson from the school came and talked about what a big lift that was. And I guess the difficulty in putting those into the ground and then removing them. They're a lot more cumbersome than the flags, I guess I'll say. And we've been meeting on what could be done. And at our meeting, there was a meeting about 6 weeks ago. She had got some pricing for a monument, and we're looking at kind of getting final assessment of costs. And then the idea would be looking at the concepts of putting a monument kind of on the opposite side of the lawn, but similar to this, probably a little shorter, the one that's right out here, with all the names of the veterans on it, and it would potentially have some room for expansion as well. So that would be there. I think it would look very nice out on the lawn. It would be something that would allow, you know, those folks to be remembered. And then those plaques, I think the idea was potentially those plaques could go back to the family members. They would return those. So that's something they're working on fine tuning, but that's just kind of the last concept that was pitched.
So they would still put all the flags out in all the same locations.
Yep.
It's just the markers have become obviously cumbersome with the amount of them. So they would go on a single stone.
And the student participation varies at times. So it's difficult depending on what the kids have going on. Sometimes there's a lot of kids, sometimes there's very few. We had some folks from the courthouse that went out and helped one day because there was some school staff here. There just wasn't many students because they were busy. They were at sporting events, they were at different things, and we felt bad watching these folks carry these, you know, the staff carry these plaques back and forth. So some folks pitched in here just to help out. So the other topic with the courthouse lawn, the clock, that has kind of been a little bit of discussion of late. You know, I think based on the pricing, we had talked about some options. I know there was an article in the paper. One idea I wanted to kind of let you guys know, and actually I think it was a great idea that came from Leslie, our clerk, was the concept of maybe setting at a time that has some significance. You know, we had talked about whether it just stays at a certain time, but she had done some research and found that there was a dedication to the building, and there was a parade and a ceremony, and there was a dedication that had taken place, and look at maybe setting it at that time. Potentially we could do kind of a little placard out there beside it to kind of let people know the significance, and it could be a little bit of history. So that'd be an option we could look at that I think would be maybe a neat concept and eliminate that need to look at the yearly maintenance or potential routine maintenance, I guess, so.
Nathan, to add to that, and Jason.
Go ahead, Gary.
John. When I was in the city council meeting last night, one of the city council members brought up that she had received a phone call from a lady in our area that's, for lack of better terminology, has given funds to, in our community, pretty large funds. And she had a friend, this lady had a friend that would like to come and look at the clock and see, you know, what costs and what options we have. So in the city council meeting, I told her that's fine. You know, have her come in and talk to you or get it set up, so.
Yeah, that's not a problem, and I provided that to Eric Levine, and he had put that in the paper last week, so it's pretty transparent. I mean, just a regular maintenance is gonna be about 8,500 if we want, you know, maintenance and upgrades to the appearance. We're looking at 15,000, then a new clock's gonna exceed 30,000, so.
Right.
Yeah, that article got some, I think, some very positive feedback from people.
Yeah, so, you know, the facts are out there, the public's aware. Leslie, that is a good idea of what you came up with for that. So as we move this issue forward, what kind of process do you see us making a decision on this? Is this a buildings and grounds issue in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it is. The clock was provided to the courthouse. In the agreement, it says that, you know, the decisions with the clock fall under the responsibility of the administrator or his designee. So,
Okay.
and it's ours to make that decision at this point.
Okay.
Nathan,
Yes.
I had just to throw something else into the ring. I had a thought if that thing was sitting square perpendicular with the road, you could maybe make it a two-phase clock instead of four. So you can see it from either direction. You'd still have a clock feature and then do whatever on the other sides. Just food for thought.
Okay. Yeah.
So one of the other ideas that was pitched around too was having, you know, maybe the art classes from the schools around the county develop artwork, which is a great concept, but the other side of that would be is how do you apply that to the clock in the weather, in the elements, and not have that artwork degrade, and where Leslie's idea is actually very simple. Go out and set the time to where it needs to be. So it'll be interesting to see what buildings and grounds you guys come up with.
Yep. And last two things I wanted to mention. National Telecommunicators Week. I'd like to thank Dispatch for all they do. They're a vital part of the county. We couldn't do it without them. A lot of stress involved in that role. Everything they encounter and manage is difficult, and we'd like to thank them for all they do. And on that, next week too is Administrative Professionals Week, and I think we can all attest to we're fortunate that we have a great resource in Jody being our filling that role for us with all she does. It goes well beyond the scope of what's expected of her, and she's a great resource, a true professional, helps out everybody that comes in, everybody within the building. Just really want to thank her for all she does.
Agreed.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions for Nathan? Hearing none, we will move on. At this time, I'm going to call for public comments pertaining to the agenda today. Are there any public comments pertaining to today's agenda? Seeing none, we're going to move on. At this time, I'm going to open a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant CDBG to update playground equipment at the Village of Peck Park. And with the opening of that public hearing, I'm going to call for public comment. Is there any public comment on the community development block grant to update the playground equipment at the Village of Peck Park?
Tim, you want to say anything?
That's pretty much all in your pack.
Okay, I just didn't know if you wanted to add anything for the,
I got everything in there for you guys.
Okay. Seeing no public comment at this time, I will close the public hearing for the community development block grant. And we are going to move on to an appointment to our pension plan board. We have 3 people to appoint for 3-year terms expiring 5/1/2027. One being Matthew Armstrong, one being Diane Rinke, and the other Tony Shaver. I'll entertain a motion to appoint all 3.
Make a motion.
I'll
I'll support it.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ehard, supported by Commissioner Sarcella, to make this appointment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All are appointed. Tony, appreciate your service on that board. Thank you for being here today. Okay, I see no need for 13B or 14. We'll move directly into general resolutions, and we are going to start out with a resolution authorizing the Village of Peck Park project. You want to read that one, Bill?
Yeah, I will. Authorizing resolution for the Village of Peck Park project, whereas the County of Sanilac is seeking community development block grant funds from the Michigan Strategic Fund, and whereas the County of Sanilac desires to request $196,956 in CDBG funds to provide funding for the Village of Peck to enhance their village park by removing outdated and unsafe playground equipment and replace that with new playground equipment that is ADA compliant. Further, there will also be a sidewalk installed from the parking lot, making this barrier-free and accessible to all. And whereas the proposed project is consistent with the local community development plan as described in the application, and whereas the proposed project will benefit all residents of the project area, and at least 51% of the residents of the area are low and moderate income persons. And whereas local funds and any other funds to be invested in the project have not been obligated and incurred and will not be obligated and incurred prior to a formal grant award, completion of the environmental review procedures, and our formal written authorization to obligate and incur costs from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Now therefore be it resolved that the County of Sanilac hereby designates Jonathan Block, the chairman of the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners, or designee, as the environmental review certifying officer, the person authorized to certify the Michigan CDBG application, the person authorized to sign the grant agreement and payment requests, and the person authorized to execute any additional documents required to carry out and complete the grant. Therefore, be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the proceedings of the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners the 16th day of April 2024.
support.
I have a resolution offered by Finance Chairman Sarcella, supported by Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion?
Just have one question. This started out, I think you started out, you wanted a walking park in the city actually thought it was better. You have a.
Yeah, we had a public hearing. I don't want me to explain it, but this is kind of a special circumstance. It falls under the CDBG, but it's kind of was a deal where I submitted both a infrastructure project and a park project. The park project was supposed to be a walking park. The state told us we had to have a public hearing. I held it. We had several residents come in and voice their opinions that they felt that the playground equipment was more important. So our council kind of reversed action. I contacted the state. They allowed us to switch projects. Here we are.
Guess that pinpoints the need for public hearings, correct?
Yes.
The public had an opportunity to come in
Yep,
and
great.
say how they wanted it done. So it's government at work. Well done. Is there any further public comment related to the resolution? Hearing none, roll call vote, Leslie, please.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes,
Chairman Block,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart,
Yes.
and Commissioner Heberly.
Yes,
Resolution carried. Thank you for being here today. Okay, at this time, we have a resolution proclaiming the month of May Motorcycle Awareness Month. I am going to read this resolution myself. Whereas the County of Sanilac has many citizens who are concerned about motorcycle safety while touring, during recreation, and daily transportation, and whereas the month of May is the nationally recognized month, motorcycles become more prevalent on our streets, the need to be more aware of their presence is of the utmost urgency, and whereas due to the Pure Michigan advertising campaign and the modification of the Michigan helmet law, many out-of-state riders will be visiting our state and using our roads. And whereas an overwhelming number of car versus motorcycle accidents could be avoided with due regard, respect, and awareness of motorcycles on the streets and intersection of this county of Sanilac. And whereas the inclusion of motorcycle awareness provided by ABATE of Michigan is a distinct part of the driver education curriculum and motorcycle rider education programs will help promote safe driving and motorcycle riding practices. And whereas it is in the interest of our community and the citizens of the county of Sanilac to note the increase in the amount of motorcycle traffic as we enter the warm months to enable the reduction of accidents and injuries involving motorcyclists. Now therefore be it resolved on the 16th day of April, 2024, the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim the month of May as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the county of Sanilac. Do I have support? Support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Leslie, a roll call vote, please.
Chairman Block,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Heberling,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarkella,
Yes.
and Commissioner Moody.
Do we have someone here today from ABATE to receive the resolution? Last year, we Eric, are you interested in a photo for the newspaper? Would we like to get the whole board involved in this? That's what we did last time.
Oh, thank you.
First off, I'd like to say, I appreciate the ongoing support for the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners having me come in to speak today. Adopting the resolution for May as Motorcycle Awareness Month. Again, it is a huge honor to be able to come and stand in front of you and the ongoing support that our organization has felt through this county with every one of you. So again, keep this sincere. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate everything ABATE does on the benefit of everything you guys do.
Yep.
Motorcycle awareness and education and everything.
Education, yes, very much so. And going to Lansing as much as we do. So again, thank you guys all.
Very good. Do you
want to get a picture holding
Oh, yes.
sign? I think last time.
we just kind of packed everybody together?
I should.
Why don't you come on behind?
Yeah, whoever wants to hold the sign, more than welcome to.
Yeah, I think.
I can maybe hang your leg. I get to go home and fix you a frame.
Yeah, they have one. Don't lose that, that's special water.
We all get in here, Eric? Maybe a couple by,
I
John.
can move over. And so you guys are more important than me.
Put this down.
No, you do all the work. Okay. Right. Look this way, smile. Take another one. And one more.
Thank you, guys.
Evans, did you ever suppose some shares?
And but just letting anybody know that if you are interested in a sign, there's a $10 donation goes back to our awareness program. I have a box full of them in the van. And after the meeting, we can talk about it if you like.
This is real.
Nice to meet you guys.
Okay, let's look at it. I didn't get his name. Excuse me. First one's free.
Good job, John.
What's your sign?
No, no problem. I thought maybe you wanted it.
I have one. It's a little old, but it still works. ABATE Region 7 out of 21 regions is probably one of the most active in Lansing. It has been I was in the organization for over 20 years. I was a region or area coordinator for many years and good group. Good group.
Still very, very active, still going out there. We just had our fundraiser for the MRF here a couple weeks ago up in Farmers Tavern at Ruth, and it was nice to see the faces that we haven't seen for a while. Have to get you guys more information on it because you're all welcome to come up to anything we have going on.
I keep thinking I'm gonna make it up to that. I haven't yet in quite a while.
But all I think was the beginning of, first Sunday in May is the switch over to meetings happening in Evergreen Park.
Oh, yeah.
What a wonderful place that's turned out to be.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That will conclude resolutions for today. So that's gonna move us into committee reports, and we're gonna start with Commissioner Moody.
Had 911 this morning. I also want to reiterate what Nate said about National Telecommunications Week. Those ladies and gentlemen do a great job there. It's not a very easy job, that's for sure. We discussed some stuff about purchasing some new pagers. A lot of things are. They bought a whole bunch of stuff like 5 to 6 years ago, and things are all starting to have to get replaced, so it's pagers, laptop computers for all the patrol cars. We'll discuss a little bit about maybe looking at hiring a deputy director. Because Dawn's gonna be leaving in a couple of years, and it's such a huge position to try and get somebody in there, working with her on a daily basis to get her knowing what she does, so she's gonna be coming before finance here shortly or something. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you, John.
And then we also had policy this morning where Nate did a good job of doing a little bit of restructuring on our reclassification policy.
Thank you, John. Evans?
Our first committee is tomorrow, HTC.
Okay. John and I were in that policy committee meeting together this morning, and he said it better than I can, so that's all I got. Christine?
I had the Child Abuse Prevention Council this morning, and they did a training with the Peck Elementary kindergarten through 5th grade. And over a 4-day coverage, they did 5 safety rules, identifying a safe buddy, friend, and a safe adult, both in and out of the home. They talked about abuse and what that could look like. In the second lesson, they talked about cyber safety, cyber bullying, and how to use the 5 safety rules to keep children safe while online. And also, just a reminder, May 2nd, it's this at Sandusky Elementary, there's gonna be a hiring fair. The Dare Track meets at Brown City on May 2nd at 4:00 start. On May 11th, the Sanilac 4-H Spring Fair at the Dairy Barn from 1 to 5. And they would also like to thank everyone at the courthouse who took time out of their day to wear blue and had their picture taken. They really appreciate it. Thank you. And then I had a health board meeting this morning, and they hired a school wellness nurse at Sandusky. WIC management evaluation at 94%. Microsoft is pushing for multi-factors, and then that when you get on certain websites, they send you a code on your phone to verify that it is really you, and it's going to be more and more that's going to be taking place. Also, they is teaching signage to put into the parks. And with Brown City, there's establishing a story walk with the Brown City Library. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Christine. Bill?
ITPC met, essentially finalizing the website design. So we'll be coming up with a new website here at some point through mid to later in the year, make it a lot more user-friendly and more attractive to everyone to utilize. Yesterday morning was MAC District 7, and we met on a Zoom meeting. The initiative or the host for Pierce County. This was the agenda they put out for us. So there's a lot more participation at that level. And with all the things going on in the counties around us, it's good that we're able to meet that way and at least discuss ideas and kind of help each other out with moving things forward one way or the other. Such things as a ballot initiative, material management plan, opioid court funding, MAC update, and even the District 7 meeting obviously carrying a little bit of weight because we had MAC representation there as well. Even the president of MAC was there. So some good things going on with that. It's good that we've initiated that again, and now we're continuing to meet with that. Also, we rolled right over into Ag and Tourism, which is a committee from MAC that I sit on, and discussion there. We had Matt Shane from MSU Extension made a presentation in regards to what MSU Extension does for promoting ag and tourism. So there's some things there that we don't necessarily see in our county that could be beneficial for us as well. And one of the big discussions there was in regards to the platform update. One of the things that MAC does is we review that platform every year to make sure that they're continuing to promote the things that the counties want them to do. And then also a discussion in regards to the trust fund for revenue sharing. So that's still out there. It's a conflicting thing at the House level. They're trying to get something decided upon because what happens is every year, the counties don't know what they're getting for revenue. And so we base our budget on what the state's going to be giving us, and they're trying to get that put into a trust fund. So then it's the same amount of money, or at least you can be within a certain percentage as to what you can expect coming forward for you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Gary?
Tonight we have a county planning committee meeting at 4:00. And as we've been talking probably the last couple months, there is an initiative going on right now to block what the state passed and our governor passed at the state takeover, basically eminent domain of windmills and solars. So that I talked to Scott before the meeting. We're still moving forward. We have to present a CREO to the state of Michigan, so we're going to start talking about that again tonight. Last week, Nathan brought up a little bit about the buildings and ground, about the animal control building. We met last week, and we're looking at some cost reduction measures in that. And that I believe the PDF copy is up at the third floor right now. We're taking a look at that. Once we agree and our buildings and grounds meet again at cost-effective ways to maybe reduce the size, square footage, et cetera, then that will go out for RFQ. So I don't think there's anything to add to that. That's kind of where we're at right now. So.
Thank you, Gary. Roger?
I also sat in on the Max 7 Zoom meeting yesterday, but I have to admit, I was on the phone for most of it. After I made my comment, I was talking with the park engineer and our playground equipment supplier for the rest of the hour, which leads me into parks. We are finalizing the plans on the Putt-Putt Golf Course and tweaking some numbers on that up there. Hopefully we have that figured out by the end of the week.
Roger, do you think that Putt-Putt Golf Course will bring in like day users of just the course?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more day use in general.
Right.
That's gonna be up at the pond area. There's gonna be 2 new pavilions up there, 20 by 24 picnic pavilions, some more playground equipment. And then more playground equipment down by the large pavilion down below, and also the kayak launch. This is drug out for a long time, I know, but it takes time. This is a big project. It's over $750,000 likely. It looks like the playground equipment, if we can get it ordered here in the next week or two, should be in late July or August. We'll probably start construction after Labor Day weekend and slow down. And at least that's my hope. So go from there. The house in Forester, the house in the store is as of last week scheduled to begin work on that tomorrow. So hopefully that goes along smoothly. That's all I have.
Very good. And yeah, I guess I forgot I was on the Max 7th meeting yesterday too. And the one thing I noticed out of that meeting is, and it was nice to have Steve from Mac and Dina was on, but then we had 2 Huron commissioners yesterday. You guys noticed that. There was 2 Tuscola commissioners. I think there was multiple Lapeer commissioners.
5.
Yeah, we had 3 Sanilac and administrator. Nathan was on too. So that group is growing a little bit. It's been building and it's been nice to see. And as Bill stated, I mean, we get to hear some of the challenges that they're facing. And it has been beneficial. So, and I appreciate everyone's participation in it.
I sat in on one of the early ones. I think it was myself and you and Tom Young, maybe from Tuscola County.
Yeah, it started out with 2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
But we've got it built up a bit now.
To see.
Yep, and never, we did it in right time too, because, everybody is facing some of the same issues with, the state has their agenda, the things they want to get done, and we understand that, but septic code inspection is something we're facing, and that's something we can consistently unite with. So, and having Mac, I didn't know much about it when I first got here, but holy cow, I don't know what we would do without them.
Right.
Appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no need for unfinished business, so that's going to move us directly into new business. And today we're going to start out with FA 061-24, approval of 2024 current claims.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2024 identified on the accounts payable report dated April 9th, 2024 for the general bank account in the amount of $113,216.14.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, supported by Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 062-24, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and transfers and establishes the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, supported by Commissioner Heberlin. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Lastly, we have FA 063-24, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged March 2022.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank account checks charged in March 2024 as follows. $1,048,854.15 in ACH payments, $474,871.23 in checks for a total of $1,523,725.38.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, supported by Commissioner Lee. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That will conclude new business. At this time, I will call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments today? Seeing none?
I have one thing I forgot to mention. I just got notified. since-
You're not public though, Roger.
I know, but since since we're doing the motorcycle awareness, I just got notified that my motorcycle is done at Ray Season Lapeer. So if anybody would like to contribute, I got new tires, shocks, wheel bearings, and I don't know what else. So probably a few $1,000s. I'll be writing a check to them.
Yeah.
So watch out for bright red Harley coming down the road.
Well, I want to hear about those, how well those rear shocks were
So do I.
in 2 weeks. You have to let me know.
I will.
I gotta go to Lapeer on Friday. I could drop you off. there.
I'm going today.
I was there yesterday.
Very good. Anything further to come before the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. 1:37.
I have a motion to adjourn at 1:37. Commissioner Lee, as support from Commissioner Ballard. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.